You are now rocking with the 3-yard play.
Right.
We just figured out a 3-yard play, fam. We're gonna win every time.
Yeah.
Hit that link with you. Come on in.
You're tuned into the 3-yard play podcast. Well, the only question is, does it work for you?
Trail got wings, bitch.
We've been working all year. It's game time. We all here. We turned up. Oh yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year. We been working all year. It's game time. We all here. We turned up. Oh yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year. We live in weight just to hold up the trophy. Flag on the plate, cause them haters can't hold me. And 1, 2-a-days and run up the biggest hill just to sharpen up my skills. They hit the scoreboard first, I had to hit them drills. Time I get around the corner, they gon' see my new wheels. After practice, till the lights come on, till they bust ride out and they gone. That rally had us help, my teammate down the steps. Player, we got plays you ain't even seen yet. I post up and fade away like graffiti. Just don't claim it's love when you see us on TV. We been working all year. It's game time. We all here. We turned up. Oh yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year.
3-yard play podcast.
We been working
brought to you by reality.
all year.
Where it is what it is.
Game time.
You get what you get.
We all here.
So comment and let us know where you live.
Yeah. Cause we finna be the champs this year.
New Black Magic Jr. album, Riot's Work, coming soon. Featuring bangers like How Deep, Cursed, the Poland Remix, Rolling, and many more. Also be sure to check out the album, and Matt Sleep Well, and Breaking Cases of Mercy.
Engineered alien technology that took the skull and bones silver first for all of y'all to see. Black magic in the flash, hacking through the algorithm, killing shit the best.
New Black Magic
Bulls
Jr.
running full court press. Jordan back after getting shit off his chest.
Cause the truth is the hardest shit.
Yes, man, we fresh off the off season. What's going on, fellas?
What it do?
Hey, man, here living la vida, man. Something that's come to my attention as of late, man, is just the concept or the idea of keeping it real with yourself. You know, just being aware of your situation at all times and making the best decision and moving accordingly. Recently, we've seen a number of people jeopardize themselves or do things that on the outside looking in, it seems like, man, why would you do that? Right. And on the other end, on the flip side of it, you know, within themselves, they just were not being realistic about their situation. Right. If you're already on thin ice, man, you can't jump up and down. You know, some of you might have to tread lightly. So that's kind of the idea of what I wanted to discuss, though. But how do you guys feel about that? Or does that strike a nerve with you all at all?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I think that's kind of like the new wave. I don't know, as far as my mentality across the board. People are just, I don't know if it's a fantasy. I don't know what it is in people's minds. It's just not attentive to what their real situation is. It's just like, I can be or say or do whatever I want to do, but that does not. The repercussions are not factored in, you know, and that's what is kind of odd to me as people are maneuvering in society now. It's just kind of like, whatever, you know. But yeah, I'm definitely amazed at how some of these decisions are being made at this point. Even after, you know, I get it, you know, you make a bad decision, but even after that, not being able to right the ship or, you know, get back in line, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. You know, I spend most of my time trying to mentor the youth and trying to help them with decision making. And a lot of times I do spend my wheels talking to them about consequence, but a lot of times in reality, there are no consequences. You know what I mean? That I think that match a lot of decisions that they make. and so there's no learning involved. You know what I mean? A lot of people are not held accountable. A lot of times you do get that slap on the wrist, maybe 2 or 3 times, and by that time you figure, oh, there's no real consequence, so you just keep trying and trying and trying. And like for me personally, I think of like the John Morant situation. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You most of his issues were bad decision making. Really, it's not like he did anything. He didn't break
Right.
the law, but you
Right.
can't go on IG and flash guns and all that stuff and think it's not going to impact have a negative impact on our society in some kind of way, or on the brand of your the organization that pays you wants to pay you $200-something million. You know, for being a great representative or a great ambassador for their brand. So you can't come and then follow it right back up after being suspended and losing money and endorsements with another video with your homeboys releasing you brandishing a weapon again and all that other stuff. I'm like, it's just like, come on, bro. At what point? What gives? I mean, I guess, what's your end game at the end of the day?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's actually a segue to something that I don't think that a lot of young people and some adults, you know, fully grown people don't fully appreciate. But we live in what would be considered a recidivist society, and I say that to say, for everything you do, the consequence actually gets worse the more you do it. So the first time you do something, you know, you might get a talking to. Second time you do something, you might get your hand popped. Third time you do something, you might shed blood, you know. So, and I think that's across the board in a lot of ways. Whereas with the John Morant situation, you know, you got some people that are frustrated. I've seen, you know, responses all over the board, but what everyone kind of agrees on is like, well, we don't know what the consequence is going to be, but the consequence is probably going to be more severe than last time.
Right.
You know, that's one thing that everybody can kind of agree on. It's like, yeah, they're not going to play with you this time, or whatever they did, because arguably it makes people feel like whatever we did wasn't enough, so we need to come harder or do more or make you suffer a bigger consequence as a result. You know, I had a case this week in work. I do criminal defense or work as a criminal attorney, and I had a situation with a young person who he had no criminal history. No convictions, I should say. He had no misdemeanor convictions, no felony convictions. However, the young man was on a felony bond for a robbery, and he was on a misdemeanor bond for DUI, and then got caught up or arrested in a new situation in which someone is alleging that he and some of his friends robbed him. And when we went to the bond hearing, the judge down there threw me and him out the courtroom. I'm like, no, this young man, you all can say whatever. We had his family there. We showing his school performance. We showing the fact that he doesn't have any actual felonies, doesn't even have a real misdemeanor conviction. But the judge was hung up on the fact that no, this young man is already on a bond for robbery, and I'm not comfortable with it. I feel like he's an ongoing threat and danger to the community, and therefore I'm not granting a bond. And the wild thing was that in me hearing that, I was disappointed, but I had gotten cussed out the day before by his parents because I told his parents that before the judge even said it, because I hadn't been in a situation enough times. I already know the judge is gonna be like, well, nah, counselor, what makes this any different? And when I told his family that, I mean, they was yelling and screaming and hollering at me like, you know, like I don't want to fight for him, but I'm just letting him know this is the reality of the situation. Unfortunately, he was the one in the best position to fight for himself when he was out here moving around the free world, knowing that he was already on 2 bonds while he didn't let something else crazy happen and now on the 3rd bond. You know, and I recognize you can't always prevent situations because something my client in this situation played a very minimal role. He's arguably just somebody in concert. He's just a group member, you know, somebody just happened to be there while this went down. But when you know your situation and what you have going on, you got to be proactive and move accordingly. For him, once he saw it was starting to be an altercation, he was supposed to clear the set. Like, you know, hey man, whatever, even if you got to make an excuse or if you just want to be honest with the folks, yo, I'm already on bond. I can't be here. The police come. I can't be here. Anything go wrong. I'm not doing nothing. But what I can't do is just get caught up and just hanging around because I know they're not going to play with me. I'm already on you know, but he waited till the house got raided and the police came in and found him. And when they found him, he was in full compliance. He listened and did what they said. He wasn't within arm's reach of a weapon, but he was in the house where there was weapons. And now they're just charged as a group with these things. And now they all can't get out. you know, and it's just something that I hated for him, and you feel bad, and you seeing other people come up with worse records getting out, but these other people weren't on bound.
Now, just
Yeah,
real quick.
and I think the thing that makes it kind of I wonder why we do this on a consistent basis. We bring the folks to the door, then we get upset of what the outcome they bring to us about it. You know, we didn't have to introduce ourselves to their environment, whether it be the judicial courts or, you know, I even talk about people, you know, when it comes to even like marriage and divorce, you know, you bring the courts to if you can't settle it, so you go to court, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to be the best decision for either one of you on average. You know what I mean? Something's going to be taken that you didn't think was going to be taken. So I wonder how many times we have to keep doing this over and over and over to realize that, you know, once you ask for these people, whether it be intentionally or whether it be unintentionally, once you bring yourself into their arena, it's not in your favor. So I just don't understand how we can, because I've made bad decisions. Everybody knows my situation. I've made some errant decisions, but you asked me in the trip, you know, when I came back home, I remember one of the things you said to me was like, "Oh, you always straight now," because I ain't, you know, because I know my situation. I know that at the end of the day, when they cleared the smoke, they were like, "Hey, you do one more thing, this is what's gonna happen to you." You know what I'm saying? So I always try to keep that in the back of my mind too. You know, like, bro, you don't have room, you know, to play with these people because the
You already
minute
used to do over.
it's no do overs. You will, you know, and I, you know, I try to speak to young guys on a consistent basis about that, about those decisions. You know, about looking, you know, 10 or 40, you know, 10 steps ahead, playing chess and not checkers.
Right.
You know, you gotta see it before it comes. Like you said, Trip, like, bro, you already know where you at. Why tempt fate? You know what I'm saying?
All right. So,
Right there.
yeah, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like I've been, you know, goody two shoes and no junk like that, because I Lord knows, and I thank the Lord every day that a lot of things I just didn't get caught. You see what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? I just got lucky and blessed in a lot of ways. But even in that, there was a lesson to be learned for me. You can't keep pushing it. You can't keep pushing it, because though you didn't get caught by the law, to Trent's point earlier, you gotta wait this time. You gotta wait that time, but the consequences get a little harder. And it might, to the point of that young man who never got in trouble. I saw it like you explained it. The day I get caught, it's probably gonna be book slam right in the face. No, nothing to talk about. No, I ain't trying to hear that mess. Now, yeah, this is my first time, but knowing your character.
No.
Now, it wasn't your first time. You just got caught this time, but now the consequences are severe. You know what I mean? So I know it's unfair, especially as a black man. You have to kind of walk through life not believing in the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Trying to maximize and take full advantage of that first opportunity. Kind of like Tripp mentioned, and he said, "Hey, you had a chance to control it in the free world." You know what I mean? And so it's about, hey, identifying what's important to me. You know what I mean? What's my value system like? Where do I want to go? Set some goals, whether they're short term, long term, whatever. But find some way to keep focused. You know, and sometimes, hey, it was a lot of times, a lot of my homeboys, they was stealing cars, all kinds of crap. And I'd be right there, and I said, you know what? Something just triggered. I know now I'm grown. I say that's my grandma's prayers.
Oh yeah.
That's my mama's prayers. They were like, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
This ain't what it is. And a lot of times it was that little voice that made me go. It wasn't like I wasn't prone to be in an environment like that. It was just I got lucky. It was something that triggered to say, this ain't it, go. And then I had some folks just go down. I've been blessed to not have to experience that to learn the lesson, if you will. But so it's been very important to me now to even share that, hey, one mistake can take your whole life away. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and I think what both of y'all said is spot on. One thing that comes to mind, and here at the 3 Hour Play podcast, man, we advise you to do the right thing, man. Be honest when you can, man. Do the right thing. But I will say, I would go on record as endorsing, even if you have to lie to shake the spot, man. The young people, because you're young, and I understand peer pressure. Peer pressure is a mug. I think so many people get caught up in the dragnet of like peer pressure, and they're trying to be cool or appear to, hey, I was with it because everybody I was hanging with was with it. But there is no shame in speaking up, man, and advocating for yourself. Because understand, when you're in group situations with folks, there's nobody advocating for you but you. So you have to always be aware of that. And I say, I think honesty is the best policy. But if you're in a situation and folks are pressuring you to do something you're not okay with, you may have to put a little sauce on it, make up a hey, man, bro, I'm supposed to be taking my aunt to the dialysis place, man. I got to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Anything.
Right.
I mean, I would encourage you just tell them and keep it real. Folks actually gonna respect you and appreciate you more if you just tell them, hey man, no offense to y'all, but I'm literally already on bond. I already done got caught doing this same thing that we about to do. So I can't do it because I already know how bad it can go. And I'm blessed right now to still be on, the fact that I'm able to participate in probation. I nobody want to be on probation, but I'd rather do that than be locked up or whatever reason you have to give for standing up for your own freedom or trying to avoid consequences. Nothing wrong with that. But if you know in your heart of hearts, hey, I may not be strong enough to make that statement at the time, or I want to save face or just whatever, it's nothing wrong with making up some reason as to why you can't be around and be there for something. And eventually folks will catch on and know, oh, now every time we go to do such and such, Shotty say he always got a reason why he can't do it, and they're going to stop asking you because they know you're not with it, So a lot of times I think people try to play along or act like they cool with stuff they're not really cool with. And then by the time the ball starts rolling, it's a little too late to just back up. It's real easy to involve yourself in something that can be very hard to get out of.
Right. Now, it's funny you say that. I think back because I'd be baffled by it. But when I got much older, there were stances that I took and I dipped. But then it got to the point when they got older, my friends, to your point, respected that in the end. You know what I mean? Because they like, man, you know what? They learned to, I guess, trusted me more. My bond with my friends got stronger because then I became leader. Because they said he's gonna do the right thing. You know what I mean? And that wasn't the decision then. I just didn't want to get in trouble back then. I had to face my mom and my dad, to be honest.
Yeah.
They put that in, but I never looked at it because now they look back and they now say, hey, can you mentor my child? Hey, so things that I've done in my past, kind of let them know, hey, he's somebody that's trustworthy. I know he's going to choose the right thing, no matter what pressures are coming his way. Though I was almost I was right at the brink, they said, oh, something triggered in him to say, nope, don't do it and go back. And so it was being respected, you know what I mean? For just having that courage to step away and not go down that same path. Even though I walked up right up to the line, I want to lie to these young people.
Man, so he told the line.
Right up to the line. I walked right up to the line. And I told that line, but it didn't, like you say, once you really work on yourself and you have somewhat of a value system, some will trigger. But sometimes I am not to say this every time because I don't want to be disingenuous and not know that external factors play a lot in decision making. You know what I mean? Right. Sometimes you would make that sacrifice because it's worth it at that time. You know what I mean? So, but I do want to say, and most people, I've never been to jail. Some will say it in jest, but man, nothing worth the freedom.
Oh yeah,
nothing worth the freedom. Now, I don't know that to be true. You know what I mean? But I'm just gonna say it because I never heard nobody disagree with it.
Oh yeah,
and nothing worth your freedom.
Yeah, I'll say this, man. I had a partner of mine. Shout out to Strickland, Boom. And I remember one time he was trying to put a magazine together, and in the magazine he was basically trying to go through every city, major city that we most people travel to, and write out the laws that pertain to the street code, the things that dudes do in the street. But what would happen if you broke those particular laws, or you decided to go to this state, like say, you wanted to carry guns to New York. He said, well, okay, when you go to New York, you get caught with guns. This is what the consequence is. And so I thought at first I was like, man, that's kind of, but then I thought about it. I said, man, a lot of us perish because of lack of knowledge. We do not know the other side of what. When I was going through my situation, I could have probably made it a little lighter if I understood what I was in front of. You know what I'm saying? Like what was coming. And so you always think you're gonna win. You always think you're gonna hit that buzzer beater, because that's how society teaches us. But in reality, it's not like that. So it dawned on me that a lot of people make these decisions because they don't really know what's on the other side. So if they understood that, oh, okay, if I go this route, because I could get in trouble, but you always thinking, I'm only this, I'm young, they're gonna let me have some leniency like your parents do or whatever, or your family or your friends give you that extra, chance. But that's not how it works in real life. And if people understood those things, like if I make this decision, what's the real repercussion for this? Like it's more than just a pat on the, you're gonna get 10 years, or you're gonna get, lose your job or your profession or whatever. I think if people understood it from that point, they'll be less likely to move so hastily and just without thought.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And with that being said, I'm going to throw the flag on the play.
Right.
Right. So Chip,
there you go.
I know you got some last words, my brother. So we'll let you finish us up.
I'm gonna keep it really brief, fam. I'm gonna keep it really brief, man. Make your next move your best move. Like always be aware of yourself. It's not selfish to think about yourself. Think about yourself and be real about your situation and make your next move your best move. Consider at the time, if for any reason the laws was here and they had to analyze the situation, how would they go? If whatever is that worst case scenario happened, how would it really shake down based on the role I'm playing right now? Right, and make your move accordingly. I'm not telling you do or don't, but you got to always think about it. If this come to light, how's it gonna play out for me?
Right. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better, brother.
Exactly. Make your best move your next move your best move.
Hey man, but we do got to ask them, man. Does it work for you? Well,
at the end of the day, does it work for you?
And y'all stay tuned, man. We actually got the song "Does It Work for You," man, dropping June the 9th. No. So hey, like that, man, like that. We should try the 3 of the folks you see right now, man, on that thing.
Sir.
But y'all check for it, man.
I do have one good little quick thing before they leave. I got to show off my little shirt. Building for my children's children. You know what I mean? And that's what, just to say that's the play I want to bring to the podcast, bro. Like you mentioned the book, that the brother put together, building for the next generations, man. That's what we do. So next play is my best play. I promise you that.
That's it. All right, fellas.
Peace. Hey, well, we out, y'all.
We Y'all Play podcast.
Peace out.
Does it work for you?
Yeah.
Peace.
El Bravo debut album.
You start with the reference to
on
God.
all streaming platforms, featuring hits like Young Jit, Stowaway, My Book of Life, and many more. Follow El Bravo at Lab Tech Music Group. It's time.
Like a stowaway.
Debut album, release me,
Just like
in
them
stores
know
now.
Your homeland's far away. Take my hand and let me lead, though. I feel like they wanna take me, but they weren't ready to me. Take a shot at the back of my hand and leave me for dead.
El Bravo, release me in stores now.
You see, the thing that separates us from every other group of slaves is the fact that
thank y'all for tuning in today and every day. And remember to keep running your 3 Y'all Play.
Look at them mouths, we feel like flowers, they gon' grow. We gon' water the seeds and watch that harvest flow. I've been crunching numbers.
Cause we know heroes are made in the off season.
There should be no reason
and grind the slow is better than crashing out
we
for
get
dough.
that money bound for we don't want it.
Let's say, young brothers, remember,
fulfill the promise.
I ain't never 3 yards every day. They can never
I can't
stop.
read that narrative, so ain't no need of counting us. You ain't never had to tell your kid being black was a sin, cause his skin was reflected through America. Taking
care of us was just a handout, right? But it was fair when free labor was just as nice. I can bet you your life, your kids living alright. Cause me and mine had to do
rocking with the
die every
3
single
Yard Play
night.
podcast.
I get mine, yeah. You get yours, yeah. But together, nigga, we gon' get some more, yeah. Look at them mouths, we feel like flowers,
So
they
like,
gon' grow.
subscribe,
We
share,
gon' water
and
season,
let's
watch that
discuss.
harvest flow. I've been
What's up with
punching
us?
numbers, winter, fall, spring, or summer. There should be no
Thank
reason
you.
that the baby
Tune in
never
to
hunger.
3
When
Yard
we get
Play
that money
podcast.
bound for, we don't run it. I only
Focus on
pledge
to
allegiance
it.
to go fulfill the promise. Time and time again.